Well, right now on News 4 Today, hundreds of elementary students rescued as floodwater rise in western Maryland. The impact on schools today as the search continues for a Virginia boy swept away.
Shots fired inside a D.C. wing shop. One person killed. What we know about the victims and the search this morning for the gunman.
Commuter alert, rail service getting back on track after a massive fire in Baltimore. What you need to know if you have a train to catch today.
News 4 begins with a Storm Team 4 weather alert.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome into News 4 Today at 4:30. I'm Jumi Olabanji.
I'm Melissa Millay. We are waking up in weather alert mode. Rain's still lingering, but it's nothing compared to what we're seeing in western Maryland.
Yeah, we will have a look at the flooding there in just a moment. It was intense yesterday, but Chuck is here now with more. It's just, you know, we had rain yesterday inside the Beltway, but you see what was happening in western Maryland with those rushing waters.
You bet. Yeah, and that was the forecast yesterday is for the heaviest of the rain to be west of the Blue Ridge up into the mountains, because that's where the moisture could be more effectively wrung out of the atmosphere. That's exactly what happened yesterday. Heavy duty rain across much of northern and western Maryland and a big chunk of northwest Virginia as well. Still have plenty of active flood warnings across the parts of the Potomac up towards Harper's Ferry through parts of the Shenandoah Valley. So be on the lookout for areas of high and standing water and do your best to stay away from it. The old saying, turn around, don't drown. If you can't see the pavement, don't drive into the water, because you just never know how deep it is. So we're weather alert because of all the high water across the region this morning. There is a little bit of a drying slot here for the first part of your Wednesday, so you're going to get some time to let the water sort of recede a little bit. Might even get a little sunshine today, but sunshine will prove to be self-destructive and end up leading to another chance for rain and thunderstorms coming up this evening. There goes that first batch of heavy-duty rain that affected us yesterday. That's lifting up into Pennsylvania. Here's the dry time we're going to get for the first part of the day today. You can see there's already more showers developing down across North Carolina, so eventually that rain chance will arrive here as well. For now, though, at least the heavy-duty rain has pulled out of the region. Still some lingering sprinkles and showers across, but nothing all that heavy. Temperatures are generally in the low and mid-60s for most of the area, and with a little sunshine today, we should be able to make it into the mid-70s. But again, watch out for rain and thunderstorm chances to return after about 3 o'clock today. Mid-70s, though, not too bad. Even warmer and even more humid tomorrow and Friday. That forecast coming up.
All right. Thank you, Chuck. We start with severe flooding in Allegheny County, Maryland. All schools there are closed today after all of this here behind me. Streets turned into rivers after they were filled with rushing floodwaters from yesterday's heavy rain. The flooding forced the evacuation of 2 elementary schools. About 150 students and staff from Westernport Elementary had to be rescued by boat. Emergency crews from multiple agencies across the state, including Montgomery County, were sent to Allegheny to help in those rescue efforts.
Maryland, not the only area hit hard by that flooding. Later this morning, first responders in Albemarle County, Virginia, will continue searching for a 12-year-old boy reportedly swept away by floodwaters. Someone called 911 last night saying the boy was walking outside when he was swept away after a nearby creek overflowed its banks. This is not too far from Interstate 64 in Crozet. Crews called off the search late last night once it became just too dark to see. And with more rain in the forecast now, really the best time. Download that free NBC Washington app on your phone. We will, of course, send you alerts straight to your device if flood warnings or watches are issued in your area.
Now to an update on that massive warehouse fire in Baltimore that caused delays and cancellations on Amtrak. The fire is now fully contained. Crews in Baltimore worked through the night to extinguish hot spots. Several residents were evacuated from their homes yesterday as firefighters worked to contain the flames. Officials say they are now working to help those people safely return home. Meantime, today, the MARC trains will operate in full service on the Penn line, but on Amtrak, there are still some scheduling changes as a result of the fire. Trains 130 and 119 remain canceled today. Northeast Regional trains 112, 131, 181, and 114 are all expected to run normally. Some service did resume yesterday, but many people say the fire continued to have an impact on their travel.
One of my colleagues couldn't get in and that the trains were all delayed, and I'm trying to get to Philly, so I left the office early.
Amtrak says it will continue to provide travelers with updates on the situation. The cause of the warehouse fire is still under investigation.
4:33 is your time, and we move to a developing story out of Southeast D.C. this morning. The search is on for a gunman who killed a young person and injured another inside a D.C. takeout restaurant. Happened yesterday afternoon at America's Best Wings on Benning Road, not too far from the Benning Road Metro stop. News 4's Walter Morris has details.
Tuesday evening taking a tragic turn and a busy shopping center turning into a crime scene. D.C. police say a young man was killed and another man injured after someone opened fire inside of this takeout restaurant.
We do have homicide investigators on the scene right now, going through the evidence and investigating this matter.
The fatal shots fired just after 5 p.m. here at America's Best Wings on Benning Road Southeast and East Capitol Street. According to investigators, one victim pronounced dead on scene and another man rushed to the hospital. Police say he is expected to survive.
So we don't know what led to the shooting, but it appears to us that both victim and suspect were familiar to each other.
This was the view from the street as the homicide investigation unfolded. Officers and forensic experts huddled around the entrance of the restaurant as detectives went door to door, collecting evidence and reviewing surveillance video. At last update, no word on a motive, but cops confirm they don't believe it was a random attack.
We're looking for a male wearing a black jacket and blue shorts, last seen getting into a black vehicle and leaving the parking lot on East Capitol Street going eastbound.
And again, this is an ongoing investigation. If you know anything that can help, call MPD. In the district, Walter Morris, News 4.
Here is a look at today's other top stories. A woman is seriously hurt this morning after being hit by a vehicle in Tysons. Fairfax County Police say the crash happened at Westwood Center Drive and Cornerstone Boulevard. The victim was taken to the hospital in life-threatening condition. The driver stayed on the scene. Police are investigating.
Today, Jeanine Pirro is expected to be sworn in as the interim U.S. Attorney for D.C. Pirro was appointed by President Trump last Thursday and will be replacing outgoing interim U.S. Attorney Ed Martin. She's a former New York judge and prosecutor. President Trump has not said whether he will nominate her for a full term as U.S. Attorney in D.C.
And happening tonight, Ward 5 Council member Zachary Parker is hosting a community listening session. It'll focus on the multi-billion-dollar proposal to build a new Commander Stadium on the old RFK campus. It starts at 6:30 at Two Rivers Public Charter School in Northeast.
All right, speaking of the NFL here at 4:36, coming up on News 4 Today, the NFL season schedule, the full one, it comes out today. And we already know where the Commanders will play at least one game.
Plus, something's brewing in Frederick County, Maryland. Millette takes us inside the community coffee shop. That's also a building block for young adults to grow.
But first, though, it's a rough job. Someone has to do it, though. Meet the employee reducing stress and anxiety for staff at Reagan National Airport.
You're watching News 4 Today.
All right, well, there's an employee at Reagan National Airport using his skills to help his coworkers manage and understand their emotions.
I think we can vote him like cutest employee.
Yes.
Nobody would argue with that. Meet Tiller, a service dog for the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority Police. He's part of the peer support unit at the airport. Staff say their daily interactions with him help ease their stress and anxiety. Tiller's handler says he helps bridge gaps for officers and staff to discuss mental health issues.
Tiller and I's goal when he got here was to educate, normalize a conversation about mental health and the effects of repeated exposures to trauma within our profession.
You know, Tiller is not only, his primary role is to support our staff, but he's supported staff in our organization, but also all the people that travel through our airports.
Tiller's a graduate of Mutz with a mission and organization that trains and places service dogs with veterans and first responders. We could bring Frank in. I mean, he's up every morning anyway, watching you go out the front door. He'd be like,
That's okay.
Maybe, you know, we had the kid, bring your kid to work day. Maybe we can do
Bring your
like
dog?
bring your dog to work day.
Yeah.
can you imagine?
Not all of them at once, though.
No, well, Mr. K would be happy to come in.
I'm sure he would.
Sure. There's got to be something to eat somewhere hiding in this building, and he will find it. Speaking of pooches, here's our dog of the day today at the Montgomery County Humane Society. A reminder, Paws in the Park. It's coming up this Saturday at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds, if I can remember how to say it. Dog walking weather today. Not a big rain chance here for the first part of the day. May want to make your longest walk first thing this morning. Chances for rain and thunderstorms increase again by the time you're getting home from work and school. If you want to adopt shadow there, just go to mchumane.org on the World Wide Web. 10-day forecast with a cooler pattern next week coming up.
You're watching News 4 Today.
We could see one of the largest Medicaid cuts in history if House Republicans get their way. The Energy and Commerce Committee released a bill this week. It calls for Medicaid spending cuts through stricter eligibility verification, work requirements, and citizenship checks. States that offer coverage to undocumented immigrants would receive additional cuts in federal funds. An analysis by the Congressional Budget Office estimates the bill would cut health care spending by $715 billion. It says the bill would cause over 8.5 million people to lose health insurance in less than a decade. The bill still needs support from all House Republicans before it can head to the Senate.
Well, today, President Trump is heading to Qatar as part of his high-stakes trip to the Middle East. The president will meet with the Emir of Qatar amid the controversy over the country's gift to Trump, a luxury jumbo jet. It's a gift that's drawn criticism from both sides of the aisle. News 4's Alice Barr joining us live from Capitol Hill with more details. Alice, good morning.
Good morning, Jumi. And President Trump has already met this morning in just a pull-aside one-on-one with the president of Syria. He's a former al-Qaeda member who left the group and has been working to moderate his image since taking over the government just earlier this year. It's coming shortly after President Trump announced a somewhat surprise decision to lift sanctions against Syria. And he said he was doing that in order to give the country a chance at greatness, and that it came as sort of at the urging of Saudi Arabia's crown prince. You saw there, Mohammed bin Salman. And President Trump has been meeting this morning with leaders from the Gulf Cooperation Council, leaders of a number of Arab states there in Saudi Arabia still at this point, as he's been working to strengthen business ties with the region's wealthy states. On Tuesday, he announced the Saudis are set to buy $142 billion worth of American military equipment, part of a promised $600 billion investment in the U.S. The president said that we've launched the golden age of America and that the golden age of the Middle East can proceed alongside of us. Along with those announcements about the Syria sanctions, President Trump has also been pushing Iran to abandon its nuclear program. And notably, in speaking about that and the possibility of negotiations with Iran, he said that America should have no permanent enemies. That's something that is likely reverberating across the Middle East. And again, President Trump's next stop is going to be in Qatar, where he's facing those very serious questions about the government there offering a $400 million luxury jet gifted to the Pentagon to serve as Air Force One, then transferred to the Trump Presidential Library at the end of his term. The president, again, defending that move, though a growing number of Republicans are raising concerns about accepting that $400 million foreign gift. And the top Democrat in the Senate says he's not going to allow any judicial nominees until the Attorney General testifies about the legal questions. Melissa.
All right, thank you, Alice. Well, meantime, as D.C.'s mayor and the Commanders push to get support for the $3.7 billion stadium deal to have the Commanders return to RFK, opponents are ramping up their efforts as well. At a community forum in Ward 7 Monday night, hundreds of residents showed up to have their voices heard. Their main concern, the plan to spend more than $1 billion of public funds on the stadium deal, as some people say the stadium currently serves as a community space.
Despite what a lot of people think, it's not just an empty lot that's rotting. There is a lot of community activity. They just don't want to see parking garages directly on the community. It really cuts us off from the Anacostia River. It cuts us off from all of the recreational resources.
The deadline for the city council's approval is mid-July. So far, the mayor has not sent any RFK legislation or next year's budget to the council for consideration. Speaking of the Commanders, the full regular season schedule comes out tonight.
Yes, but we already know a few details about what could be one of the most exciting games of the season. The Burgundy and Gold packing their bags and heading across the pond for the first time. They're heading to Madrid this fall. They'll take on the Miami Dolphins November 16th. This is only Washington's second international game since the NFL began playing games overseas in 2007. But the Commanders are making history playing in the NFL's first ever regular season game in Spain. Cannot wait. JP Finley will have reaction to the full Commander's schedule. Also a breakdown of the schedule tonight on All Ears with JP Finley. It airs on News 4 streaming channel live at 8:30. You can also catch the show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts starting Thursday morning.
That is so fun.
I know.
Game in Spain.
Not that I would
fun.
go, but I've already volunteered to watch my niece and nephew that very weekend. Of
Really?
all other, yeah. So there's no like,
Plans have been made.
plans have been made.
Okay.
Yeah, but
See,
I would
and
love
I
to.
think I may try to go.
I know you will.
It's like right before I'll come
Wait a
back to
minute.
work.
Aren't you going to be raising your child? I mean, you're just going to
Yeah.
leave this
That
kid
little
behind?
No, she's not gonna. Boop, take her. She's got
Oh,
commander's
great.
gear.
She's got Commander's gear.
An infant on the
She's
plane.
ready.
What
She's
could
ready.
go wrong? Says the poor guy who sits in front of you.
Well, there are babies in this world. They'll deal with it.
Yes, there are. And if that kid's crying behind me, I'm going to be crying right back. All right, good morning, everybody. Cloudy skies are the rule once again. There is another chance for some rain coming up here, but most of today's rain chances stacked up later into the afternoon and evening hours. We've had rain overnight, and so there are plenty of puddles, and there are lots of areas of high and standing water across the region. So be careful until at least between now and the time the sun comes up. And remember to never drive over a water-covered road. We'll get some dry time this morning. That should help most of the high water get back inside of its banks. It'll be a little warmer today. Nobody made it above 70 yesterday. We should make the mid-70s today. However, you're going to notice a little increase in humidity levels. It's going to be quite humid the next few days, and rain chances will be peaking again as we get into the day on Friday. All these areas in green are where we have active flood warnings this morning. So many spots up here in northwest Virginia, eastern parts of West Virginia, obviously northern and western Maryland, and even down into parts of central Virginia, Charlottesville to Culpeper. So be on the lookout for that high water this morning. Now, Storm Team 4 radar shows nothing more than a few sprinkles now in our Maryland suburbs here. Those raindrops are northbound. Not much rain, thankfully, currently across much of northern and central Virginia. Temperature-wise, we're pretty much where we were all day yesterday in the low and mid-60s. You will get to see a little sunshine today. Can't promise you a whole lot, but it should be enough anyway to put temperatures back into the mid-70s this afternoon. However, sunshine will lead to the development of rain and thunderstorms by late in the day and especially in the after work and evening time frame. For tomorrow, warmer still, back up to around 80 tomorrow. Not a huge rain chance tomorrow, so they'll get another opportunity to dry out just a smidgen. Future weather carries the little chances for rain out this morning. Here's 1:30. Again, not a big rain chance, 20-30% chance that early, but by the time you get to 5 o'clock here, notice the coverage area of the rain and thunderstorm chances increasing quite dramatically between about 3 and 5 p.m. and then hit and miss scattered thunderstorms likely well into the evening hours. Then for tomorrow, a dry start, and notice a mostly dry day tomorrow, only an isolated rain chance mainly down to our south and west, but I think most of us are going to get a dry day on Thursday. I'll put your rain chances at 25% for tomorrow, but back to 80% chances for storms on Friday. Friday and Saturday, well, look at that, mid-80s and lots of humidity on Friday. It's going to feel like summertime. Then some cooler weather for yours truly to enjoy early next week.
All right, thank you, Chuck.
Tranquil. Tranquil.
All right, I think she got that one right. I knew that one. Several students from our area are getting ready to compete in the Scripps National Spelling Bee, including Nikita Ramakrishnan. She is an 8th grader at Rocky Run Middle School in Chantilly. She started competing in spelling bees in 3rd grade and has won several over the years, including the Fairfax County Spelling Bee in March. To prepare for the Big Bee, she's been studying 4 to 6 hours a day. Nikita says her trick is to make sure she knows the word from A to Z.
And I also made sure to repeat it a lot, ask for the alternate pronunciations, the definition, and again until I was 100% sure that I could spell this word.
The Scripps National Spelling Bee takes place May 27th through 29th at the Gaylord National Resort and Convention Center. We want to wish Nikita and all of the spellers competing good luck, but especially the ones from our region. Hopefully we get some DMV love in the finals. Well, it is one of the biggest concerns for parents raising a child with special needs. What happens when they grow up and I'm no longer able to care for them? There's a Maryland cafe supporting young adults in the area and setting them up for success. And Millette is here now working for the community, showing us what's brewing in Frederick County. Millette.
There's the clue right there. You know, at first glance, it's a really nice coffee shop. Check it out. And it's really a building block for young adults to really grow their community. Inside Beans and Dreams, Nectario's place, where you can get a cup of coffee, buy a cake pop or some tasty treat, and hang out in a cafe with owner Nectario and his staff.
Raven,
who say with confidence,
I love it here, getting all the customers, making coffee.
And this cafe is ready for Nectario and Noah, who grew up together, and the others who work here.
Yeah, I take orders and I tell them have a good weekend.
On East Main Street in Middletown, Maryland, these young adults have a space to maintain friendships and their independence.
Entering the bell? Coffee is ready.
And then we're going to just hand it over to the gentleman that's right over there.
Staff t-shirts say it all, dedicated to attaining life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for young adults with disabilities.
He always wanted to have a coffee shop with his name on it.
Joanna is Nectario's mom. She wanted her son and his friends to have a future they could count on.
And we built this so that it could be within the community and that the community can support our young adults with special needs and they can live and be a part of the community. Yeah. Good job, Noah.
Yeah.
Here he is. He's right over here.
This coffee is really good. My favorite part is talking to people, socialize, and taking orders for the customers.
It just strengthens the community. I mean, this is a gathering place with so many different types of people, and it's somewhere where everybody can get along.
Don't you just love that? And here's the long-term vision. No to a franchise, they say. They've been approached. Instead, they're thinking of possibly housing in that neighborhood, in that community, through the Nectario's Foundation. So they're really trying to build up on what they have in that spot right there, Jumi.
You know what? And I love that they're giving them these life skills, a way to make some money, a sense of purpose, connecting with their neighbors.
All there.
I mean, it's all right there in one place. We love that. All right, Millette, thanks so much. Still ahead here on News 4 Today, a local program also helping fathers find faith in themselves. See how it's making a difference in our community and beyond. First, though, we are following a dangerous situation in Virginia. Find out when crews will resume searching for a 12-year-old boy swept away in floodwaters. And scary moments for students and teachers as flooding forces them to evacuate a school in Maryland. Meteorologist Chuck Bell will join us with another look at today's flooding concerns right after this break.